One, two, three. One, two, three. One, two, three. Bear with me, guys. This is the first time I'm doing a live, and I'm um, trying to do at the same time a YouTube live as well as TikTok. So bear with me, okay? How's everybody doing? If I cannot figure out how to do this YouTube, I'm just gonna. For some reason, my camera is not. I've done something where my camera is not actually working properly on YouTube. So I'm trying to figure it out so I can actually do two things at the same time, sort of broadcast. Um, you know what? Forget about it. Let me see if I can do this. All right, you know what? I'm just going to share my screen on YouTube. That'll be good enough now. At least there's sound. Anyway, first time that I'm actually attempting to do a live on TikTok as well as YouTube for our channel. So I don't know if this is the perfect time to do it. It's 9:30 here in New Jersey, and we play by ear and see how it goes. So the title of this particular live is I'm trying to figure out different subjects to basically address, and in a futsal setting, youth futsal setting. So if you guys have any suggestions, by the way, uh, they're very welcome. But what I want to do is that I just picked a subject. I'm at the risk of ruffling feathers, at the risk of some people getting upset, at the risk of possibly losing the limited subscribers that we have. But it's something that I think has to be addressed. It's something that I think that it's the big elephant in the room always. It's something that I think that some people or a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but the conversation has to happen. And it's basically soccer, futsal, parent culture, and how is it, in my opinion, hurting youth players. Um, I sincerely believe that we as parents have our kids' best intentions in mind, but a lot of times our good intentions are intentions to protect our kids, to help our kids, to do everything that's possibly best for our kids. Unfortunately, with all the good intentions, it does more harm than good. Now, I am personally a youth soccer parent. My daughter is at college. She's graduating this year from Nova Southeastern University in Florida. She is a former youth soccer goalkeeper. She has played soccer since she was 7 years old. My wife is a quote unquote youth mom. I've gone, I believe, through everything in youth soccer. So I'm speaking from experience. So I do include myself and my wife in the group of youth soccer parents or futsal parents. And we've made mistakes like everybody else. I like to think that because of my coaching background, hold on a second. Okay, I see your comments. Hello, everybody. So, because of my experience in coaching, I think I have a little bit of different perspective. Just like a lot of other coaches that are also youth sport parents. I mean, just because you're a coach doesn't mean that you don't have any kids, right? So again, at the risk of ruffling feathers, and at the risk of offending people, and at the risk of losing subscribers, I feel very strongly that, we need to go into a conversation about soccer / futsal parent culture. And that is beyond, showing activities, drills, how to do things. But I'd love to have you guys, if you haven't joined the channel, smash, share the live, join our group, subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the conversation. But as I said, the first live on TikTok, it's the second one on YouTube with a touchy subject. Opinion needs to be addressed. Okay, so how soccer, futsal, parent culture is hurting our youth players. And again, I started my quote unquote youth parent journey with a 7-year-old daughter. At the time, I had more experience in soccer than most of youth soccer parents, being the fact that I was born into a soccer family. My dad was a professional goalkeeper in Europe back in the 60s, late 50s, early 60s. I was born and I basically grew up on the quote unquote soccer stadiums back in the 60s, watching my dad play professionally in the back of the goal. Because again, Europe back in the 60s, it's not like today. Kids are running behind the goals. And it was a great experience from what I recall. But I grew up in that environment. And of course, when I had kids, when my daughter started playing soccer, I started helping out. My play where I came to this country, a kid in the mid 70s, which there was not a lot of soccer going on. Forget about futsal; there was hardly anything. If anything, it was indoor soccer. And I progressed. I was the local Greek kid in my town who knew how to play soccer. When I went to high school, I basically signed up to play football, American football. I didn't even know there was a soccer team, and I wanted to play football. So all my friends went to, I guess, the soccer coach and told him, hey, you know what? There's this Greek kid that's pretty good. You should go and check him out. So the soccer coach went to the football coach, and they literally came and got me off the football field and basically said, you need to go and play soccer. Pretty good move. Since then, I was an outstanding player in high school, although I was a below average player in Europe when I first came here. And that's a different video. But basically, I went through my high school career playing varsity ball. In those days, early 80s, the recruitment process, I got recruited by a lot of colleges just because my name was constantly in the paper. I would play goal, and then with a few minutes left in the game, they would put me in the field, try to score goals, and win the game. So my name was always in the paper, either scoring goals or getting shutouts. So obviously, I got a lot of attention with different schools. I did go to college. I only played in college for one semester because my parents, especially my mom, wanted me back here in New Jersey. She felt that, we're in America to provide a good life and education for you. So I want you to be close by. Again, different mindsets in those years. So they took my college dream of going to college and studying and play a sport that I love. I came back in New Jersey, and my dad at that time said he knew how upset I was. So he actually took me back to Europe, and I actually tried out for a couple teams in Europe. One first division team, couple second division teams. I was lucky enough to get offers. I went there. I played a couple of years. Came back to America, met my wife, got married. So, I give you a long story, my background. But then when my daughter started playing, in her career as a 7-year-old, I did help a little bit. And eventually that's how, my soccer career started as far as coaching and whatnot. So I do understand the soccer parent culture. My wife was believe it or not, a varsity player in an all Portuguese Brazilian area of Newark. At the time, there was no girls team. So she actually played varsity soccer on the men's varsity soccer team. So when I met my wife, she was a woman that played men's sports. In fact, she actually even played baseball on a baseball team. But that doesn't make her an expert at coaching. But her passion for the sport, her desire, because she wanted to play at a higher level, but her parents would not let her go play at a higher level. Her desire to play for a higher level, that she didn't get that opportunity. She wanted to do everything possible for our daughter to go through her soccer journey. But guess what? The mistake was that it was not my wife's or my soccer journey. It was my daughter's soccer journey. I realized that very, very early. Now, again, the benefit was that I had a soccer coach hat, my soccer background experience, right? As well as my youth parent soccer experience. So I could separate the two. However, my wife could not. She put extreme pressure on our daughter in different as she traveled through the years of youth soccer. But again, as every other youth soccer parent, youth futsal parent, or any other youth sport parent, we have our best intentions for our kids. We want the best for our kids. We want to give them everything. We want to go on the field if possible and help them to our channel. Love to have you guys in the conversation. So, yeah, it's not our journey. No matter how much we want it, no matter how much we crave their success, it's not up to us. It never is. It's our kids. It's their journey. We can sit idle and cheer for them, support them, encourage them. But unfortunately, we forget some major, major things. The number one thing that we forget is that soccer, futsal, any really youth sport are supposed to be about learning. It's supposed to be about development. And most importantly, it's supposed to be about having fun. But way too often, as well-meaning parents, unintentionally, not only do we forget that, but we actually sabotage our children's growth and passion for the game of soccer, for the game of futsal, or any other sport that they choose to play. And that's an outburst, Excuse me a second. My other phone is ringing. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you see outbursts, and there's just so many videos online of misbehaving culture in sports. In my opinion, is having a negative effect on our children. And after being a professional coach for the better part of close to 20 years now, I started my professional coaching career in 2006 after I left the mortgage industry when the market collapsed. So after all these years, I think that things are not getting better. And once again, like I said at the start of the video, and I don't know what you guys think, love to hear your comments. At the risk of offending people, at the risk of ruffling feathers, at the risk of losing subscribers, I feel that it's a conversation that has to be had over and over and over and over and over again until we get it through our head to stay out of youth sports. Support the kids, encourage the kids, cheer the kids, watch the kids, have fun watching the kids. Because I'll tell you guys, that period of when your child starts playing a sport, what, 3, 4, 5 years old, to the time that they graduate, go to college, if they're lucky enough to play at that level or beyond, or as it happens for the majority of the young athletes. And that's something that you have to face. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to remind you and tell you truths that you don't want to hear. Most of your kids will quit. Most of your kids will quit whatever sport they're playing. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And we as parents are one of those reasons. You may not want to hear it. Oh, that's awesome, Ruben. You just learn about futsal and love it. It helps the ball control and strategy. I 100% agree. So true. So true. So true. I'm glad that you found futsal, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it, and I hope your children enjoyed it as well. But anyway, getting back again to what we're talking, which again, it's not about just youth soccer or youth futsal. It's about everything. Let's address. Let me ask you guys a question. So, do you guys agree or disagree about what I'm saying? Love to hear, your comments, your thoughts. There's a few people here. What do you guys think about what we're discussing? Do you think that soccer, futsal, parent culture is hurting our kids? Do you think it's okay? Do you have any thoughts on it? Any comments? Love to hear what you guys have. Let me start from there. Nope. Anything you guys want to share on the topic? I hope I'm doing this correct. I think it helps. Okay. How does it help, Ruben? How does it help? How does the parents getting involved in soccer or futsal shows teamwork and communication? I think you're talking about futsal in general. Yes, I 100% agree with you. Yes, futsal does help with teamwork and communication. And actually, look, in futsal, anything that you take from soccer and you put it onto a futsal environment, or you use futsal as a training tool, it just puts you on steroids. Everything is elevated through futsal. Okay, but subject at hand. Okay, and again, I just chose the subject. I mean, we know we'll see how this goes. I like to get more lives. I don't know if if or when the best time to do the lives is. I don't know if it's morning, it's here. I don't know if afternoon or, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. So once again, I would say subscribe to the channel, okay? Share it, and you'll get notifications when the lives go. So right now I'm trying to figure out, is it better to have it in the morning? Excuse me. Is it better to have it in the afternoon? But we'll figure it out. But let's get back to, the topic that I picked, okay? So here's a couple of things that I think, common things that parents are guilty of, I guess, and unconsciously hurt their players, okay? I want to say that the biggest one, excuse me, the biggest one, and I'm sure you guys could figure out, is overemphasizing the importance of winning. I mean, every single game that you go to, even at the 4 or 5 year, age groups where it's just about playing, just getting together and having fun, the first thing that pops out in the mind is talking about winning. All across the country, globally. I just came back from Portugal, by the way, where my academy took two. By the way, anybody can tell me? I just keep getting messages. Some people sending universe, send TikTok universe. What does that mean? Anybody knows? Again, I'm new to lives. I'm new to lives, so I don't know what's going on here. But if you can help me out, what is that? Somebody, sharing something, sewing? Well, anyway. So during the last summer, 2024, our academy took 2 teams to Portugal, and we competed at Madeira, Portugal. Madeira is the island of Portugal, which is considered like the Hawaiian, resort of Portugal. An amazing experience, different life for that, by the way, combining travel and play. Amazing experience, okay? But yeah, we took two teams, and they participated in a tournament in Europe. And we got to see, again, I know what to expect because I've taken teams to Europe before in other tournaments. Like I said, I was born in Europe. I go to Europe all the time, so I know what to expect. But it was just a reminder, and American parents saw that, there's misbehaved parents everywhere. Again, that what we just talked about, the passion, the desire to help our children misguides us. We do things out of passion and love for our children that it just misguides us. Seriously. So it was evident. I mean, one of our teams actually made it to the finals. And in Europe, you have a lot of girls. First of all, you don't have a lot of girls teams, should I say. So you have a lot of mixed age and mixed gender teams, okay? Winning is fun, but not the point. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. Wanting to win is the point. Wanting to win is the point. Not giving up is the point. Good points. I totally agree with you, Ruben. Totally agree with you. But winning, yeah, it is fun, but not the point. I get it. I agree with you 100%. So anyway, like I said, in Europe, you don't have as much or as many programs. Even in soccer, even in futsal, is getting a lot better, by the way, for girls. So it's very common for girls to be playing on boys' team. You have more teams that have boys and girls, co-ed, than in America. In America, we try to separate boys and girls because there's a lot of girls playing. There's more numbers. We can form more teams. But even in futsal, it's very common here in America to combine, just like in Europe. You combine age groups when they play. You're combining boys and girls. The bottom line is for the kids to play, have fun, experience futsal, see how great it is as an individual sport, but also the benefits of it can provide for your soccer journey, for your soccer game. So anyway, while we were in Portugal, one of our teams made the finals against one of the top clubs in Portugal, by the way, which is Sporting. If you don't know what Sporting is, Sporting and Benfica, Porto are probably the top three clubs in Portugal. So Sporting has an amazing futsal academy. A lot of their players are on, the senior players are on the Portugal's national team for futsal. So an amazing school, an amazing methodology. We went there, playing the finals. We did very well and actually beat one. You want to talk about parents getting upset? Oh my God. Unacceptable. American kids, American girls going to Portugal, competing and beating boys? Wow. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. It was a tough game. Don't get me wrong. It was a 2-2 game, went in the PKs, and we won. Okay? So this passion with the parents wanting to help, wanting to protect their kids at any level is natural. It's not just a U.S. phenomenon. It's a global thing. It happens everywhere. But we have to be cautious. We have to be aware, and we have to try to change things, because the bottom line is this, guys. No matter what sport you play, are very, very high. We are partly to blame. So as I said, overemphasis on winning. Parents that just go to town when their children lose a game, criticizing their missing opportunities. Really? I mean, there's consequences to that. Look, youth sports is for kids. That's why it's called sports. However, it's ironic that youth sports are created, organized, and managed by adults. It's pretty funny. When you think about it, it's very funny. Here you are with a youth system, something that's supposed to be for children, and it's organized and it's managed and everything else by adults. So there's a lot of mistakes. What are the consequences? Seriously, what are the consequences of overemphasizing winning? I mean, kids, look, there's many studies online about, soccer, about futsal. And the number one reason why kids join and want to play the sport is to have fun. That's the number one reason, to have fun. Number two is to make friends. One, to have fun. Two, to make friends. That should tell you something. That should tell you something. Scoring goals is another one. I don't recall the top of my head, but it's pretty high on the list. But I do know that winning is very low on the list. And listen, I know you're going to get the parents that are going to say, oh, my son and my daughter want to play and want to compete and want to win. Exception to the rule. But the majority of the rules, or maybe that's what you say to yourself. Maybe that's what you say to yourself as a parent, because you want to justify your desire for your child to win. Because let's be honest, we all want our children to be on winning teams. We all want our children to play at the elite level. And look, as an administrator and as a owner of a youth futsal academy, as well as a youth futsal league, I get those calls every single time, every single week. Coach, my kid is an elite level player. She or he, or she's so good, and they go on to tell me how great the kids are. Oh, he or she's 6 years old. Really? How elite skills can this 6-year-old be? Are you the next Neymar? You have the next Neymar in your house? You have the next, Messi in your house? Because if you did, chances are Barcelona, Madrid, somebody would have been knocking on your door already. Okay? Let's not confuse our desire and our, want for our kid to excel overshadow what we're doing to them. The consequences or overemphasizing winning is basically kids, instead of developing their love of the game, instead of developing fun, it develops anxiety. It develops fear of failure. They lose the joy of playing. Remember, I'm telling you, you can Google those things. Be honest with yourself. Just Google those things. The number one reason why kids play youth sports is to have fun. The number two reason is to make friends. Done. But instead of accomplishing and helping them and accomplish those things, we achieve the opposite by overemphasizing winning. Kids develop anxiety, fear of failure. They lose the joy to play the game. They lose the desire to play the game. And I let me just see. Okay. I'm just, again, I apologize. I'm fairly new to YouTube. I'm sorry, TikTok Live. So trying to manage as best as I can. So, like I was saying, overemphasizing winning has definitely negative effects. What's the solution? Well, here's one of my favorite questions is when I ask, parents about their children, little Joe had a game this weekend and this and that. So I will say, well, how did he do? And the first thing that pops out of the parent's mouth is, oh, he did great. They won 5-0. I didn't ask you, parent, if they won or not. I asked you, how did he do? How did he play? Did he have a good read for the game? Did he make some quality passes? Did his dribbling improve from the previous game? What did he do? Did he have fun? Did he enjoy himself? Did he make some new friends? Nothing that comes out is, well, they killed the team. They won. Oh my God. He did unbelievable. He just he's the biggest kid. He's like, he out dribbles everybody and he's the biggest stud there. First thing that comes out of the mouth, oh, they won 5-0. Well, maybe we need to focus on the effort the kids put in. Maybe we can focus on, oh man, it was a great day. How did you do? It was a great day. He had so much fun playing futsal. And that's a testimonial that we get from a lot of players that, try futsal for the first time. Parents' testimonial is a consistent, wow, he had such a great time. Well, wow, she had a great time. She had so much fun. She doesn't want to be very common, right? But they do. It's a very common comment by the parents on how much fun the kids had. playing futsal. And I think that's what we need to focus on, the fun that they had playing futsal. Look, I run a futsal league, and every year we have a very good amount of teams that come into play, and they're soccer teams. They're not futsal teams. They have no clue how to play futsal. But they come to play, futsal because they heard that, the smaller playing space or playing area helps, accelerate decision making, quick transition, better skills, this, that, all the benefits of futsal. They hear it, so they want to try it. And that's okay. That is okay. The league that we run is a development league. We don't keep scores. We don't keep standings. The kids play. Our object, our core mission is to get the kids playing. That's it. Okay? If you want to go and compete for medals, prizes, wins, you go to a different league. Our league is a development league, and we have teams of, every level. High-level teams, mid-level teams, lower-level teams. But our goal is to have the kids have fun, experience the game of futsal, cultivate the love for the game, and so on and so forth. So when parents tell us, my child had such a great time playing futsal, that's amazing. That's a great testimonial. That's a good place to start. So we should focus on that. We should focus on our children having fun as opposed to, if they won or not. We need to start celebrating small little wins. What's a small win? Oh, my kid played for the first time futsal, and he had an amazing time. He made friends. He had a great time with the coaches. He scored a bunch of goals. Had a great time. He laughed instead of, oh, hey, won. Okay. If you're a little more advanced, you focus on, hey, my son or my daughter had some good passes. She hustled, he hustled. She improved her defense. It's funny how once you're playing, futsal from a soccer environment, you don't have as much time. So, you have to think quicker. You have to react quicker. The hard surface, the futsal ball, the way it moves, it's slicker, it's faster. It just all the different experience. And I think that my daughter and my son had a great time improving, the decision making, improving their quality of passing, improving, their dribbling, all that good stuff. Nothing to do with winning. Nothing to do with winning. As a coach, over the years, there's plenty of times that I've had teams lose games. But it was a great game. It was a great game. I don't focus on the loss. I focus on the fact that they play a great game as a team. They were together. They had teamwork. They had fun. They tried hard. They never quit. Yada, yada, yada. Who cares about the win? If it's a tournament, again, I shouldn't say who cares about the win. Everybody cares about a win depending on, the level of play, right? But, there's other times where you win a game and they play like garbage. You just won because you played against a lesser skilled team. And that has happened to me. And some parents don't understand, well, why are you lecturing the players? They won. Well, just because they won, it doesn't mean that they played well. It doesn't mean that they played well. They were selfish. They didn't make right decisions. They were not passing. They were not moving. They were dribbling too much. Their decision-making was not of quality. They were individually playing, trying to score goals, not playing as a team. They were not marking well. They were not running off the ball. Only one thing. Yeah, they won because, we were a little bit better. We outshot them, got a bunch of goals, and we won the game. Doesn't mean that they played well. Just because you played well, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you played well. And just because you lost, it doesn't mean that you played badly. Could you have fun losing? I think so. I absolutely think so. Could you have fun about when you win? Of course. It all depends on the situation. Not everything is the same, which is another issue with U.S. soccer, U.S. futsal. Like it's a cookie cutter thing. It's not the same when a 4 or 5-year-old goes to play. It's not the same as a 9, 10-year-old, a 17, 18-year-old, an over 23 player. It's not the same when it's recreation, to travel, to academy, to high school, to college, to professional. It's not the same. You can't judge all those things together. There has to be different criteria for a 5-year-old, for a 4-year-old, different criteria for a 9, 10-year-old, different criteria for a high school player or a college player or a pro player. You can't use the same criteria. A couple of things are the same, effort, for example, at all levels. But, a 5-year-old has more energy in abundance. But then I see coaches doing laps at 5 years old. Really? You get to practice and you waste half of the practice of a 5-year-old team, a 6-year-old, 7-year-old team doing laps. Those kids have more energy than anybody. The last thing they need to do is doing laps. What should you do? Put the ball in play and let them play. Which is another thing that I hear all the parents, well, I shouldn't say all the parents, but a lot of parents, if they see a coach that lets the kids play a lot and doesn't really, overcoach, oh, he's not a good coach. All he does is just sits there on training and let them play. Really? Really? I hate to break the news to you, parents, but the game is the best teacher. It doesn't matter what that game is. Soccer, futsal, basketball, football, it doesn't matter. The game is the best teacher, period. The more they play, the better they will do, which, again, is another issue. Overcoaching and creating robots. Why? We just had, by the way, we just hosted an international academy here in New Jersey. I'm sorry, an international camp here in New Jersey. We are working with LFNS, which is the Professional Futsal League in Spain, the number one futsal league in the world. And we organized a youth futsal camp with coaches from Spain to come and teach their methodology, because regardless if you like it or not, regardless if you're Brazilian, Ecuadorian, Uruguayan, Argentinian, Dutch, French, English, German, the number one team on the men's side and the girls' side are from Spain, both World Cup winners. In the same year, both World Cup winners. So you can argue all you want, but the Spanish are doing something right. The Spanish got to be doing something right, right? That's the bottom line. So we organized the camp. We had the Spanish coaches come. It was a fantastic experience. Positive raving results and reviews from all the parents. All the parents. And the coaching director from Spain made an observation that American players have the very good individual skills, but they cannot think. They cannot think. And you know what? I was on the futsal court assisting those coaches, and some of the activities that they asked the players in the camp to perform were a nightmare. It was chaos. And those activities were repeatedly the activities that the players had to think. The individual skills, oh man. And we had some high level players, by the way. We had some play. This camp drew players as far as North Carolina, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. It was a very well received camp with some really quality players when it came to individuals. They could dribble, they could juggle, but then when it came to thinking, ooh, train crash. So the director, Chima Jimenez Alonso. Chima Chema Jimenez Alonso, Jimenez Jimenez Alonso, Alonso. Chema Jimenez Alonso. In the futsal world, he is like a Guardiola or a any top level, coach in the world. The man has coached national teams, professional teams, ex-head coach for Movistar. And if you know futsal, you know that Movistar is one of the top clubs in the world. Many other clubs. He's been all around the world, responsible for setting futsal programming in Russia, in Peru, and in Asia. The man is a legend. When I post, and you guys can see, some of the TikToks that I've posted with him coaching and making points and this and that. Some of the people from South America, especially, they know him. Call him professor, call him prof, teacher, But then you have Americans who don't even know who he is. Not only don't know who he is, not only don't know his credentials, they actually have negative remarks. In any event, I'm getting a little off topic here. But like I said, the number one remark in evaluating the players that were there, he said American players have very good individual skill, okay, that dribbling, passing. But when it came time to do activities where they need to think, they lacked. He said that, Spanish teams would just, outplay them because of that. Which is, again, another issue with overcoaching, with sideline coaching from the parents, which is another issue on my list, sideline coaching, okay? We're always telling our players what to do. And let me pause and address that for a minute. So I told Chema, I said, Chema, American sports are a coach-driven culture. Think about it. Football, the coaches set all the plays. The head coach determines and guides the game. The players are going out there and executing. They're not thinking, they're executing. Football is the ultimate robot sport. Everything is outlined. Every play is scripted and outlined. The player just needs to execute. The players that execute the best usually do very well. The only position in futsal that's allowed to do a little bit of thinking is the quarterback position. And even those positions, unless you're that stature of a quarterback, you don't have the freedom to go out there, think, and if a play doesn't work, broken play, this, that, adjust, or furthermore, call your own plays. When a quarterback can call his own plays, it's a major thing in football. Sorry, football is a structured sport. Same thing to a certain degree with basketball. There's a lot of plays. Baseball, same thing. So American culture sports are driven by the coach, and the players are given constant direction of what to do. When it comes to soccer, we have a problem separating the two. Soccer is a growing sport. And let's not confuse these days where you turn on the TV and you watch Premiership, La Liga, Serie A, and you see all these those coaches sitting there and directing and organizing. And, no. Let me tell you something. The actual FIFA rules of the game state that a coach has to be in the bench, cannot even get out of the bench. That's the original FIFA laws of the game. They're not allowed to get up and coach, but they allow them because it's a thing. The coach is part of the quote unquote sport culture. He's part of being a star. It's not just the players anymore. It's the coach. So they allow him to sit there, and now they created the box where the coach cannot get out of the box, but he sits there. Look, here's the thing. In soccer, you have a little more time to give an instruction from the sideline and be carried out, because you have more room, more space, more time for your instruction to be passed to a player and then executed. In futsal, where the space is so much smaller, you don't have the time. By the time you utter something, the moment is gone. Here's something else. You as a coach see something from a certain angle. The players see that same exact thing from a different angle. Therefore, what you could telling them may not be the best possible solution for that player for that particular time where he or she may be. Furthermore, when it comes to the sideline coaching of the parents, okay, you see the game with adult eyes. You see the game as an adult, with an adult mind, with adult eyes. The kid who's playing, your son, your daughter, sees the game much differently depending on the age that they're in. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you see the game, as I said, from a different angle. From wherever you're sitting on the sideline, you see the game from a certain angle. Your player is seeing the same exact thing from a different angle. The coach of the team sees that same exact thing from a different angle, because unless you're right behind the coach, your view, your angle is going to be different. So now you got the coach's angle, the parent's angle, and the player's angle. And you have the parent shouting a direction, the coaching who already said something, make a decision. So now the player has the mom and dad shouting a direction. He or she wants to make mom and dad happy. You have the coach yelling something. He or she wants to make the coach happy. And then they have to make a decision because they're the ones playing the game. You tell me how all those things work. You tell me how sideline coaching in any sport benefits the player instead of confusing the player. It confuses the player. It's conflicting with the coach's directions. Your coach's assessment, if you disagree with the coach's, ability to manage the game, well, they have to make an option. In my opinion, if you join the team, you should join the team because you spoke with the coach. You know his or her culture, his or her methodology, his or her approach to the game, and you agree with that. And for that season, you are putting your trust in that coach. You do not try to interfere with the coach because your player didn't play, a certain amount of time, because the coach didn't use your player in a certain way. You just have, you make a decision to say, I want to join your team. And that's the last decision you should be making. Allow the coach to coach. Allow the coach to do whatever he needs to do. And don't interfere for that particular season. Now, if you're not happy, you can take a child, and next season you can make a decision to join a certain team or a certain club. And then you realize you made the wrong decision. Yeah, happens all the time. A coach gives you a song and a dance to get your player on the team, and then it completely changes, completely different. What do you do? Are you going to sit there and constantly argue with a coach? Are you going to put your player out right in the middle of the season and go someplace else? Or are you just going to, listen up and have to deal with it until the season is over? Every single of those things I just named have consequences. Are you going to constantly battling and bicker with a coach and tell them, yeah, blah, 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 blah? That's going to have a negative effect on the coach. It's going to have a negative effect on you. It's going to have a negative effect on your child. Your child sees that you're constantly undermining the coach. Regardless if the coach is right or not, you're undermining the coach. You're constantly bickering with the coach. You're constantly, arguing with the coach. your child sees that, and he or she thinks it's okay to do that. No, it's not. It has a negative effect on the coach because the coach is like, I don't want to deal with this parent anymore. And maybe the coach takes it out on your child. It's like, if I have to deal with you constantly second guessing me and constantly trying to overcoach me, well, maybe I'll just have your child sit on the bench for the most part of the game so I don't have to deal with you. Or if you pull your kid out of the team and go someplace else, well, what did you just teach your kid? To quit when things don't go your way? Things don't go your way, you're just going to quit? Well, I hate to tell you this, but that's not life. You get a job and you need that income, and your boss turns out to be somebody who is not what you thought he was going to be. You have to adjust. You have to find ways to tolerate, to coexist, because you need that paycheck. That's life. You can't quit. You can't quit. Why should you quit a sport? What does that teach your child? So the sideline coaching, the overemphasis on winning, the consequences that all these things have, guys, in futsal, in soccer. And by the way, I've only began to touch 2 of them. I have a list of 10. And I've been on this live already an hour, to be honest with you. And I don't even know if, this is the best time to have this conversation, because as I said, I'm trying to figure out what's the best time. I would like to start doing lives, and I like to have parents, whoever join in, and let's share in the conversation about soccer and futsal, about futsal and soccer. Let's share the conversation about what we can do to, help our children, make it better, not just here in the U.S., but globally. This is not a U.S. problem. Youth sports, it's supposed to be a great joy. Youth sports is supposed to be all about having fun, teaching lessons. Sports, team sports, teach life lessons like nobody's business. I strongly believe that. I recently went through a cancer battle. For those of you that follow my other channel, okay, I was diagnosed with cancer about a year ago. Last year, should I say, I was going through chemotherapy. But I used my sports mentality to help me with the battle. I used the sports analogy, the lessons that I've learned from sports to battle cancer. And today I am cancer-free. My coach was my doctor. I trusted. By the way, I interviewed 3 doctors. I interviewed 3 coaches to get on their team. I didn't just go with the first doctor. I didn't go with the first coach. It sounds like sports, doesn't it? You want to join a team? Great. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your child to sit down and chat with a coach. Don't say, well, this coach is, he has won at every level. This coach has come so highly qualified and, and that. Okay, great. So same doctors. Just because the doctor, the doctors that I went to, to be seen and diagnosed when I was diagnosed with cancer, they were all top doctors. Okay. 2 of them I didn't like at all. The third was amazing. He's my superhero. So guess what? When I made the choice to put my trust in that doctor after he diagnosed me, I had to trust in his ability to guide me. Same thing with us as parents. We have to trust at some level the coach. If we did our due diligence, did we do some research on the club that we're joining? Did we do some research on the coach that we're joining? If we do our due diligence, okay, and you go with a coach, you got to give that coach a chance to coach. Just like I gave my doctor a chance. He told me what was wrong with me. He gave me a plan for the season. My season was basically going through being diagnosed, surgery, chemo, other surgery, blah, blah, blah. For a year, he gave me a plan. He gave me a coaching plan of what we're going to do. Same thing. When I coach teams, we tell the parents, ask as many questions as you possibly want. When new players come to the academy, we encourage parents to ask questions. But on our website, when they come to join a team, our program, for example, Winter Futsal Select program, it tells you what are you going to get. It tells you you're going to train, you're going to play games, you're going to train these days, you're going to play games these days, you're going to have this amount of training, you have that amount of training, we're going to work on this and that and accomplish this. If you have more questions, you pick up the phone and you call FTP Futsal Academy, you speak with me and say, hey, coach, I got these questions before I join. Can you help me out? Can you talk to me? Absolutely. Once you make the decision to join a certain club, a certain organization, a certain coach, you have to allow that coach the time. You're basically acknowledging of his experience or her experience, and you rest your faith in that person. Again, I know that things don't always work that way. I know that there's coaches that you talk to that tell you one thing, then they switch. I get it. But remember what we talked about. The options that you have. Are you going to argue the coach constantly because he didn't tell you, what he told you, should I say, is different than what he's doing? Are you going to constantly overcoach him? Are you constantly going to undermine him? Are you going to pull your kid and leave? There's consequences to all these things. There's consequences. So I like to continue this conversation. I mean, I don't know what you guys think. And as I said, I'm trying to manage a YouTube live and the TikTok live. I know there's plenty of people that came into this room. I hope you guys like what you hear. Love to have you guys join our group. Subscribe, hit the like button, hearts, push the live, out there. I'm going to try to make a decision. I'm going to do another live on this exact issue, on this exact topic, how soccer, futsal, parent culture is working in the U.S. this afternoon. So I'm going to do another one about 5 o'clock and see what kind of traffic we get in here. Because as I said, I would like to establish that we do lives on a regular basis. I don't know how many days and I don't know the times, and discuss things beyond just the skills, the training. Look, you can just go online, put futsal skills, futsal training, and you get a million YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere. There's a million and one, videos about training and activity and all that good stuff. But what about having a continuous conversation, about different subject matter in youth sports? And have you guys participate in this conversation. Please post on the bottom, comment. What would you guys like to hear? I just chose a topic today because I feel very strongly about it. It's a starting point. How soccer, futsal, parent culture is in the U.S. In my opinion, it does hurt children. You may not want to hear it. You may not like it. It may offend you. It may ruffle your feathers. You might unsubscribe. But I think that conversation needs to be had over and over and over and over and over again. Because I tell you one thing. Over the last decades, there's been so many incidents of bad behavior from parents, from coaches, against everything, against each other, against the referees, against this. Look, as a futsal administrator and as a coach, soccer coach, I've been a collegiate coach now for a few years. I resigned last year when I was diagnosed with my cancer battle, right? And let me tell you one thing. The quality of refereeing has nosedived in the youth level. You know why? Because referees, the good referees, are quitting like there's no tomorrow. And the number one reason why they're quitting is because they're tired of getting screamed at, yelled at, a lot of times with physical abuse as well as verbal abuse from the parents, from the coaches, from everybody. And they're like, for me to go out there every Sunday and get beat up verbally and sometimes physically. So the better coaches are quitting. They're quitting. Some of them are going and coaching, college where maybe there's not abuse, or if they have the qualifications to go, coach a semi-pro or even pro level, I don't know. But the point is that you're getting a lot of unqualified or early, like young referees that don't have as much experience. So now you got a U18 game, a high-level U18 game being reffed by a younger referee who does not have the experience to call that game, but out of necessity, the league assigns that referee. Same thing happens with futsal. Here in New Jersey, last year, I didn't ask this year, but last year in the whole state of New Jersey, I believe there were 75 futsal referees, registered futsal referees. That's it. That's it. And if you know anything about New Jersey is so heavily populated with soccer. A lot of futsal. But then again, you have organizations that organize futsal events, and they do not use certified futsal referees. They just use, younger referees. They're cheaper. They're this and that. I personally have gone to futsal tournaments, and the referees didn't even know the rules. They did not know the rules. That affects the players. It affects the coaches. It affects the parents. It affects everybody. But why? Well, because probably one of the main reasons is that there is no referees. You can't get referees to referee a futsal game. Forget about soccer. You know what I mean? So as you can see, all these are topics that I believe we need to address on a regular basis. We need to have a continuous conversation. And just like the title says, how soccer, futsal, parent culture exists in America or is hurting young players. And I want to put an end to this live. We only touched on two things, overemphasizing on winning, okay, and sideline coaching. Those are the two things that we addressed in the past hour, and there's just so much to go over. I would love to hear from you guys. I would love to get your feedback. I would like to get comments. Please post below your comments, your ideas. Give me ideas about what to talk about next. There's a lot of, don't get me wrong. I am not short on ideas about what to talk about when it comes to futsal. Okay? When it comes to futsal and soccer, I am not short on ideas. But love to get your feedback, love to get your input and see what you guys think. Maybe what I think is the number one thing that we should address might not be yours. And let's talk about it. But I definitely think what we started with is an elephant that's been in the room, the big old elephant in the room for years and years and years and years. You may not like it. It may upset you. It may offend you. It may ruffle your feathers. But fact is, as parents, we want what's best for our children. But our desire to help them, our desire to do what's best for them, most often misguides us in doing things and forgetting while we started this journey. When you first enter your child in a youth soccer program, 4 or 5 years old, or a futsal program, why did you do it? Ask yourself, what was that number one reason why you signed up your son or your daughter at 4 or 5 years old to play that soccer or futsal? What was it? Is it because everybody else is doing it? Is it because your other children got into it? And if your other children got into it, why did your other children get into it? If it's your first child, why are you choosing soccer or futsal over football, over baseball, over softball, over, basketball, or any other sport? As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't really matter what the sport that you're choosing, because some children gravitate towards football, some children gravitate towards soccer. Yeah, soccer happens to be the most played youth sports in America. And futsal is gaining so much ground. For you guys that may not be 100% into the futsal culture, let me tell you something. Futsal is the quiet monster. Futsal is growing by leaps and bounds in America. And it will soon overpass other sports like football and baseball and basketball, because it's an amazing sport. It's an exciting sport. Kids love to play futsal more than basketball. You know why? It's easier to score. There's a lot of action, a lot of touches on the ball. You don't have to be big. You don't have to be tall. You don't have to be fast. Able to see 3 years ago, 5 years ago. It's fact. It's fact. Soccer doesn't like that. The youth soccer organizations do not like that. Different conversation. I'll just leave you with this. Because they see futsal as the enemy of soccer, not an ally for soccer. The number one reason? Financials. When you play futsal, you're taking away from the soccer financial status of every club or every organization. That's the bottom line. When you go play basketball, when you play football, baseball, instead of soccer, you're taking money away from soccer. Well, futsal is doing the same thing. But futsal is growing, and it will not. You cannot stop it. You just can't stop it. It's like a small little snowball that trickles down from the top of the hill, and before you know it, it grows into avalanche. That's futsal. So, a lot of conversations to be had. Would you guys like to be part of the conversation? Would you like to continue this going on? Please share with me comments. Give me feedback. I need your feedback. We will keep pushing. There's plenty of stuff that we have. We're doing camps. We're doing training. We're covering different events. So there's plenty of content that you'll see about us posting, different activities, training, commenting. There's tons of stuff. But this particular form of content, do you guys like it? Are you interested in continuing this conversation? Are you interested in coming on here and sharing your ideas? What's the number one thing that you like to know about futsal? What's the number one thing that you like to share about youth sports? Like again, today I chose soccer, futsal, parent culture. I'm going to repeat this live this afternoon at 5 o'clock. I wanted to try to gauge what's the best time to do the lives. Mornings or afternoons. Eventually, I got to figure out what's the best days to do these lives. Okay? I don't have a problem with getting on here and discussing this multiple times of the week. Because, look, you create a live, it goes into your, into your bank, and some people never get to see it. If you're not on the live, if you missed the live, chances are you may not go back and see the live, what was in it. A lot of people may not like the conversation. A lot of people may not like me just talking about these things. I don't know. Or, you missed it, life happens, everything goes on. Should we repeat this conversation over and over again? I think so. My opinion is, just like anything else, you need to go over the same thing over and over and over. Discuss the same things over and over and over again. By the way, if you guys have been here since the beginning of live, and this is going on about an hour now, we discuss the overemphasis on sideline coaching. 2 things. I actually have 10 things on top of my head that I would like to cover. So if you missed the overemphasis on winning, if you missed the sideline coaching, go back and check out the live when it ends, play it over. The good thing about having a live, you can just, put on your earbuds. You don't even have to watch my ugly face. You can just, listen to what's being said. But we're going to repeat it. So we're going to go over again the overemphasis on winning and sideline, and then introduce all the other things that I believe is affecting soccer, futsal, parent culture. Okay? And there's a lot of good stuff, guys. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm sure that here's a challenge for you guys. I challenge anybody who's in the live now, YouTube or TikTok. Write down in the comment section one single thing that parents do that hurt young players or could hurt a young player. Name one thing right now. Put it on in the comments. One thing that you feel that hurts, that has a negative impact on our children. One thing. That's all I'm asking for. One, compile a list. Let's compile a list of, what do you guys think? One thing that has a negative impact and hurts young players. If you want to list an example, if you want to put some consequences, even better. If you want to put a way to fix it, awesome. But let's start with, name one thing that you feel we as parents, out of our desire to help our children, to guide our children, has negative consequences on them, hurts them. One thing. I'll leave you with that. Okay? So if you guys want to continue this conversation, I am committing to doing another one of these at 5 p.m. today. So set your phone, set your reminder on your phone. 5 p.m. We're going to go live and discuss this again. Invite a friend. Invite somebody else. Don't forget, please like this live. Subscribe. Let's join the community. Let's grow this. It should be beyond about just activities. It should be beyond about just drills. There are so many people out there doing drills and activities. I want to go beyond that. We also have a Facebook group called Futsal Today. Futsal Today. We just went over 3,000 members. 3,000 members. We started the group in late June, I believe, and we just went over 3,000 members. And my focus on that. Oh, we also have, like I said, I know you heard me mention a couple times. We do have a YouTube channel. On the YouTube channel, we have about 1,700 and change. And again, same thing. We started promoting this channel not too long ago. It's growing very nicely. And what we want to focus on everything, on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. We want to focus more about youth futsal. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of stuff out there for futsal, professional futsal, street soccer, people doing tricks and all kinds of different things. But I want to focus more on this. What do you guys think? All right. So until this afternoon, I bid you a farewell. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And let's renew our appointment for today, Wednesday, January 8th, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There, everybody.